I've been watching China closely, and what I'm seeing is, well, both fascinating and concerning. The world's second largest economy is at a crossroads, facing challenges that could, reshape its future and impact the entire globe. From economic slowdowns to political power plays, China's story is unfolding in real time, and trust me, it's way more complex than you might think. Okay, so let's dive into this. China's economy, once the envy of the world with its double-digit growth, is now showing signs of, fatigue. We're talking about a growth rate that's dipped to around 5%. Still impressive by global standards, but a far cry from China's heyday. And you know what? It's not just about the numbers. This slowdown is sending shockwaves through every sector of Chinese society. From ghost cities filled with empty apartment blocks to factories scaling back production, the impacts are real and tangible. And it's not just China feeling the heat. The entire global economy is, well, intrinsically linked to China's fortunes. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room: debt. China's debt to GDP ratio has skyrocketed in recent years, and it's not just government debt we're talking about. Local governments and state-owned enterprises are in on it too. The government's trying to defuse this bomb with a massive 12 trillion yuan bond issuance. But is it too little, too late? On one side, this move could inject much-needed liquidity into the economy. But flip the coin, and you'll see it's essentially kicking the can down the road. The real estate sector, once a pillar of China's growth, is particularly vulnerable. With giants like Evergrande teetering on the brink, the ripple effects could be, well, catastrophic. China's not just battling economic headwinds, it's also locked in a high-stakes tech war with the West, particularly the US. The battleground? Everything from semiconductors to artificial intelligence. China's push for technological self-reliance, epitomized by its New Quality Productive Forces initiative, is both ambitious and frankly necessary. But here's where it gets tricky. Take the recent frenzy over NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 50 series. It highlights China's ongoing struggle to break free from reliance on Western tech. This isn't just about gadgets. It's about economic security, military advantage, and global influence. It's a chess game played with silicon pieces. At the center of all this is one man, Xi Jinping. His consolidation of power has been nothing short of remarkable, but it's a double-edged sword. On one side, it allows for swift, decisive action. On the other, it's led to increased policy volatility and economic uncertainty. This brings up an important question. Can a system so centralized around one person effectively manage the complex challenges China faces? The crackdown on dissent and opposition has intensified, with high-profile arrests and silencing becoming more common. Now, let's zoom in on the average Chinese citizen. Rising living costs, coupled with economic insecurity, are fueling widespread discontent. We're seeing protests pop up more frequently, despite the government's efforts to maintain social harmony. It's not just about economics, it's about aspirations and expectations. The social contract that has underpinned China's stability is under strain. Young people, in particular, are feeling the squeeze, facing high unemployment and skyrocketing housing costs. How China navigates this social pressure cooker could define its future trajectory. It's a balancing act that's becoming increasingly difficult to maintain. Let's shift gears to one of the most volatile issues, Taiwan. China's stance on Taiwan hasn't changed, but the intensity and frequency of its military activities in the Taiwan Strait have ramped up significantly. The US, as Taiwan's primary backer, is caught in a delicate balancing act. Any miscalculation here could have catastrophic consequences. It's a situation that keeps diplomats and military strategists up at night, and for good reason. The question isn't just if tensions will escalate, but when and how. China's not just focused inward. Its Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, is reshaping global infrastructure and trade routes. It's an ambitious project that spans continents, but it's not without controversy. Critics argue it's debt-trap diplomacy, while supporters see it as a much-needed investment in developing economies. The truth, as always, is somewhere in the middle. The COVID-19 pandemic was a pivotal moment for China. Its initial response and subsequent zero-COVID policy highlighted both strengths and weaknesses in the system. While China's ability to mobilize resources was impressive, issues of transparency and the economic toll of lockdowns raised serious questions. As the world moves on, China is still grappling with the aftermath. So, where does all this leave China? It's at a critical juncture, facing challenges that will shape not just its own future, but the world's. The decisions made in Beijing over the next few years will have global repercussions, affecting everything from economic stability to geopolitical balance. The path China chooses will ripple across the globe. As we've seen, China's story is far from simple. It's a nation of contrasts and contradictions, facing challenges that will test its resilience and adaptability. What do you think? Is China on the brink of a new era of growth, or are we witnessing the beginning of a decline? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth looks at global issues. Until next time, keep watching and keep questioning.